Welcome to Everyday Ethics. I'm your host, Michael Liebowitz, joined by Persephone. Just some reminders, we love super chats and super stickers, so please give them. Also, I've got a great episode of The Rational Egoist out right now dealing with the history of atheism. And at 3:15 p.m. today, the lovely Persephone and I will be doing crime, corrections, and culture. Please remember there will be no programming at all tomorrow. Friday, we will be back with Everyday Ethics and a special edition of crime, corrections, and culture. So, without further ado, Persephone, I will turn it over to you, and you can
Actually,
go.
with one small bit of ado, can I show them the new Kant shirt?
You can, yeah. Sorry.
So that's the new shirt. Um, that's available. If anybody would like their shirt to provide a good refutation for Kant's philosophy, there we go. Available now on the Capitalist Corner merch site.
Nice.
Because I'm petty, are you going to read the entire thing? No, I am not. But I highly encourage anybody to go and read it because I do personally find it quite funny. You can't tell, but the highlighted red letters in that design also say "fuck cunt." Just because I'm petty like that. Anyway, so Michael's on the phone. Anyway, so today we're going to be talking about some posts that I found on Reddit. Because I like to look at the moral dilemmas Reddit and see what kind of moral dilemmas people have in real life. And often I often I feel quite bad for the people who are having these moral dilemmas, uh, because it seems like a bit of a miserable way to live. I'll read them as soon as Michael gets back. But it would be great if anybody had any questions. Actually, someone did have a question on the website. Also, please don't forget that you can submit questions on the website. Also, please go and follow on Twitch. Just reminded myself to go and watch this on Twitch. There was a question on the website, Michael.
What was that question?
That question was, when someone you care about, like a really close friend, doesn't have a sense of humor, how would you help him or her to change that? What advice would you give? What could you teach him or her? And what reading would you recommend, if any? Would you practice with them? Or what could you do?
Wow. I wouldn't do any of that. If somebody I knew didn't, is that, oh, Akira Felix says he just asked the question. I wouldn't do any of that. If I had a friend that had no sense of humor, I would make fun of him incessantly, and that would be it. And that's just a fact.
I I think I'm the same. If I don't think that I would be able to be friends with someone who doesn't have a sense of humor. So I don't think that I would have ever reached a point where I had someone who was a really close friend who had no sense of humor. Because to me, that's very important. Because I think that if you don't have a sense of humor, you're probably a very difficult person to for you'd be a very difficult person for me to be around.
Yes.
I
I got a question for you, Persephone. Did
hmm,
Akira ask a new question, or was that Akira's question?
No, that was from someone else, but Akira did ask a
All
question.
right. Well, let's get to that.
So he said, "Yesterday I was called out by a friend while we were hanging out for behaving like an ass. I hadn't noticed I was doing it, and he pointed it out, and my first instinct was to argue. Then, after I realized he was correct, but I wanted to know how we can find ourselves in these situations where we act like assholes without knowing it. Can it even be prevented?"
I don't know. It helps immensely to have a friend that will do that. Because oftentimes you just don't know. I mean, if you knew you were being an asshole, the chances are you
Wouldn't have
wouldn't
done
be an
it.
asshole. I mean, when I'm an asshole in the moment, I usually think I'm perfectly justified.
Hmm.
And then when somebody tells me about it later on, or in the moment, uh, my initial response might be to argue as well. But when you have a good friend, provides reasonable arguments, it helps immensely. Robert Naser, $5 super chat. My very best A1 top advice with regard to changing other people into how you think they should be is good luck. Wish, pray, rub a lamp.
I
He
I
says you
also
can also try reasoning with them.
I also think it depends on what you mean when you say you were behaving like an ass, because sometimes people think that I'm being bitchy, and then they tell me why they think I was being bitchy, and I'm like, "No, I wasn't being bitchy. I wasn't being an ass. You're just oversensitive."
Oh,
Not
so you
always,
so you employ the old
sometimes.
patented "it's not me, it's you" argument.
No, I will readily admit when I have crossed a line, but there are times when someone says that my behavior is unacceptable, and I'm like, "No, it's
Well,
not."
yes, but the problem, Persephone, is he already conceded he was being an
Yeah,
ass.
I know,
So
but
for you to come in and say, "Oh, well, you know what? I really don't have this problem. It's usually the other person." Just don't see that as
not
helpful.
usually, sometimes. So Akira says the problem is that we stopped hanging out for a while because I was acting like an asshole. He just told me yesterday, but he said that I was doing it for at least a couple of weeks. Oh, I hate it when people do that to me, but I acknowledge that I sometimes do it to other people as well.
No, he was being cranky.
Mm.
Akira was.
Well,
The
it
whole
says
the
he's
whole.
he,
Can I please? So it's the whole objectivist supporting war things have gotten his knickers in a twist for a while now, and he's been crotchety with people, and this person noticed it and told them about it. Am I correct, Akira, or do we need Persephone to come in and tell us again how this doesn't happen to her, so you just need to watch yourself?
it does happen to me, just not super often. I'm generally a nice person.
No,
Generally
you
people don't
are.
tell me I'm behaving
No,
like an
no, you're
asshole.
you're wonderful. You just need to be reined in at times on the program.
So the thing that I wanted to point out is I don't like it if I've done something wrong. I don't like the for the person that I have upset to hold on to that and not tell me out of some, like, for whatever reason they're not telling me, unless they've got a good reason to say, like, that they didn't tell me, for them to turn around after a couple of weeks and say, "Oh, you've been doing this thing for like weeks now that's been bugging me." I don't like that.
Okay, so basically, when you do something wrong, you don't then like when the other person does something wrong in response.
What? No. Well, yes.
I don't like it either. I would prefer people tell me when I do something that bothers them.
The only time that I will, like, not say something immediately in the moment is if the person who is doing it, if I know that the reason, or possibly the reason that they're doing it, is because they're in a bad space, and that I know bringing it up at that precise moment will not have a positive result. And then I'll wait like a couple of days until they're in a better place, and then I'll be like, "Hey, listen, so this thing that you did the other day."
This thing
But I
you
never,
did.
yeah, this thing you did. I never wait like weeks. And if it's a behavior that continues, it's like every day, then I won't wait. How many psychologists does it take to take to change a light bulb? One, but the light bulb has to really want to change.
Okay, so what's the
What's the thing that I'm going to say that's going to upset you? Okay,
yeah.
so I was on Reddit and I was looking at the moral dilemma subreddit, and I found two posts that are very similar but from different angles. And just bear with me. So the one is, they're both teenagers. Well, they're like 17, the one is 17, the one is 21. So the one, it says, when I was younger, I did absolutely horrible things. I understand it was out of trauma and normalization, but I was a hurtful person. I've made amends, been forgiven, and realized that at that point I was still just a child, but it still haunts me every day. I'm older now, I know better. This is the age where everything matters, and I understand that now. I won't make the same mistakes as a kid. But at the same time, these things linger with me, especially when I consume media and try to write stories or draw. This is the interesting part. I can't relate to Spider Man or any of the superheroes because they didn't make mistakes as bad as me. I don't deserve to be able to look up to them, at least I think. Are there any tips for this? What do I do? I heard I should forgive myself because I was forgiven. So that was the one. Then the other one, which is a similar thing, but from a slightly different angle. So this person is 21 and they said, when I was 13, I did something pretty bad. A lot of my friends and family have taken my side, but I lost a few friends, and one of them is bullying me and harassing me online. They basically keep insinuating that I shouldn't be showing my face after what I did 8 years ago. I should have a trigger warning coming along with me whenever I show my face online and maybe even in public. Is what they are doing as revenge and punishment for what I did justified, and should I shun myself? His question was basically like, should I shun myself from society because of this thing that I did 8 years ago? And granted, the thing that he insinuated that he did something horrible to an animal, right? And but it was 8 years ago, and he was a child at the time. He was 13, and I know that's not really an excuse, but both of these things are sort of very similar, which is like your moral character is a fixed state, or you've got finite currency in your moral character, and once it's gone, you're fucked for life.
I don't know. I don't know. You're 21 years old, dude. If you're butchering animals when out of just for fun when you're 13, you might have a little bit of an issue.
So that person,
But ultimately, look, I just when I was 13 years old, so I'm going to tell you my story. When I was 13 years old, I had sex with a girl. And I broke up with her because I told everybody that we had sex, and then everybody thought she was a slut, and I didn't want to be seen as the guy dating the slut, so I broke up with her. And obviously a shitty thing to do. I was 13. So recently someone asked me, would you apologize to her? And I thought about it, and I said, no. There's things I'll apologize for. I'm not apologizing for being a irresponsible 13-year-old when I was 13. I'm just not doing it. I mean, but of course I'm not 21. I'm almost 50 now. So I mean, when I think about like you're butchering an animal or whatever sick thing this kid did to an animal, it's wrong. Yeah. I mean, does this dude never get welcomed back into polite society? I mean, it seems so stupid to me. He was 13. 13-year-olds do dumb shit. I mean, but I don't know the person. You know what I mean? So if all he ever did was this thing when he was 13, does he have to do penance for the rest of his life? God, I hope not. But the people who are shunning him are probably teenagers, so they're dumb as shit too.
So I mean, I don't want to go into too much detail into this, but the general assumption from his responses, this person, is that whatever thing that he did was kind of sexual. But he's been in therapy, and it happened when he was it happened when he was 13, and he did a lot of therapy.
Listen, this dude's got some weirdo shit going on. Like I don't know, man. You're having this dude's having sex with goats or something. Like I don't. It's just I wouldn't want to be around the guy. Like I at 21, I'm gonna be like, yeah, dude, I know you were nailing the fucking donkey 8 years ago. Let's go hang out. You know what I mean? Like, probably not. But as a 49-year-old man, I say he was 13. He was experimenting. I don't, you know what I mean? Whatever.
But this is
I've heard that everybody that grew up on a farm does this. I don't know. It doesn't appeal to me. But look, he's 13 years old. I don't have the thing is this is not really an ethical problem for me. I'm not dealing with this. I'm not like, oh my God, this guy was nailing the chickens back in the day. I don't know. But if you're asking me if the simple question is this, should something somebody does at 13 years old be held against them for the rest of his life? My answer is no.
There's two angles to this, because number one, you have the first guy who seems to hold himself permanently accountable for something that he did a long time ago, was forgiven for, has made amends for, and still somehow feels that none of that is enough and that he's permanently tainted, right? Then you have this other one who, like, yes, what he did was fucked up, but I mean, it could have been anything, you know? And his friends or his acquaintances want to hold him permanently accountable. So that's the through line. Can you be held permanently accountable if you have gone through the effort of making amends and
I
doing
would
therapy?
say no. Now, somebody, of course, can come and make the example. What about a 13-year-old serial killer? Like, you can always push these things to ridiculous extremes. But in all seriousness, no. This kid was 13 years old. He did something dumb. He got help. If that's all there is, then to hold it against him is ridiculous. But to hold it against other teenagers for holding it against them is also ridiculous because they're young and they're stupid.
Yeah.
Like, Danny, he's in the thing and he's joking. He holds something against me from when we were 11. But he and I are friends and hung around with a guy that bullied us both when we were kids. And we bring it up, joking around. And the guy feels real bad. Oh, he gets all out of sorts about it. But the bottom line was he was a kid too. He was bullying us. We bullied somebody else. Those kids probably bullied someone else. I mean, you're all just dumb kids. So,
Yeah.
If I were to talk to the 21-year-olds, I would say, look, you don't want to hold this against them. Besides, I mean, that stands out because it's so ridiculous. But let me go and talk to these 21-year-old kids and say, well, why don't we put out the dumbest shit you've ever done and make that public for everybody to talk about? And my bet is you don't want that known either. You know what I mean? Like, you've done ridiculous stuff. Maybe you're looking out the window, whatever. I don't want to say anything ridiculous. The point is you're doing dumb stuff when you're young.
So Akira Felix says it's part of cancel culture. He said the N-word when he was 13 on Twitter, therefore he has to lose his job at 30.
Yeah, that's dumb.
I mean, it is dumb, but I mean,
Justin Bieber?
Unfortunately, against my will.
Personally,
No, I just know of him.
All right, well, I watched on TMZ a long time ago. In TMZ, a video came out of Justin Bieber. It wasn't on TMZ when he was very young, singing and using the N-word. In TMZ, Harvey Levin said, we had this video all along. We didn't put it out there because this is a 13, whatever he was, year old kid. And we're not trying to ruin this kid's life because he says something dumb when he's 13. And I think it's the same thing.
So I agree with Robert. He says if you're no longer the person who did terrible things, you've got to let the stuff go. And if you have friends who can't let it go, then that's fine. You've got to let them go too.
Yes, Robert is absolutely correct there. And that's the thing, is if this guy has really gotten help for this and has moved on, if people can't let it go, just go find different friends. The problem is when you're young, they're going to go and tell, oh, you're hanging around with, and look, I'm guilty because I still joke around. When we were kids, there was this guy who got caught doing something sick. And I brought it up recently because it's a funny part of my childhood that everybody knew that this dude did it. You know what I mean? Now, I guess I'm an asshole. It's at times,
But I mean, do you bring it up to make him feel like shit about
No,
it?
I don't even know where the hell this guy is. He could have moved to Nebraska. I don't know, but it's just something like you're talking about. Hey, remember when we were kids? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Remember the story about this guy? The guy had sex with a horse, and everybody knows it, right?
A
So
guy
I
died
mentioned.
doing that.
Okay, I don't want to get too much into that. I like, but I'm just all I'm saying is that people can bring up ridiculous things. It happens. I don't know. I ultimately, if we're talking about ethically speaking, you're not, if you've changed who you are not accountable for the things you did when you were 13. That's the bottom line. And if people can't let it go, I mean, they're ridiculous. Akira says, "What if nobody lets it go?" Well, then you're screwed, and so are
But
all of us.
But I mean, you have this issue, right? Where because you are very open about the fact that you went to jail, there are some people who are like, well, then you're a criminal and nothing you ever do
Yeah,
will
but I don't. But
redeem you.
but screw them. I mean, ultimately, I don't care. They can think whatever they want. They say whatever they want. Okay, say it. Is it going to hurt me? Is it going to stop me from succeeding in life? No. So
No,
you want to be dumb and you want to think that and you want to try to put things out there about me. You think you're going to slander me. Go ahead, or not slander because it would be true. But if you think you're going to harm me by saying, "Oh my God, look what this guy did," okay. And the very fact that you're doing that tells me you think I've changed. Because if you didn't think I changed, you wouldn't do that. We have this asshole here in Connecticut who always tries to screw with me, comes out there, puts says things about me, whatever. But when I met him face to face, he damn near pissed his pants. You know what I mean? And I wasn't going to do anything to him. But if he really thought I was still that person, he would never act that way. Ever. No, not him. Danny's bringing up a different guy that we talk about because this guy did something ridiculous when he was a teenager.
I think
And
everybody does stupid things when they're teenagers.
no, 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 no. What I'm talking about is like we'll joke about this guy to this day because it was such a well-known thing. But look, so this guy, this is just going to show you how nuts teenagers are, all of us. This guy makes a video of himself masturbating. And he's talking during the video, saying some really weird things. Okay. A friend goes over his house and asks if he can borrow a movie. And he mistakenly gives him this video of himself masturbating, talking about how he wants to have sex with all his friends. Right? Um, Now, what ends up happening is they make copies of this video, and all the kids in town are having parties watching this thing. Right? Now, mind you, we're all there saying, "Oh, this guy is a sicko for doing this." Meanwhile, we're all watching it. Right? I mean, how sick are we? We're like, "Ha ha, look at this guy. You're not, you're all sick." Right? But nobody talks about, hey, remember all those sick teenagers from Weathersfield that were watching this video? Subby, my buddy, actually, after watching this, went and threw up in the bushes. It made him so sick. But everybody knows about this to this day. But what the hell? Like, but to be honest, if I met this dude today, I wouldn't hold it against him. He was a teenager. And honestly, is what he did any worse than what we all did?
Yeah, I mean, it's very, but why were you at the devil's sacrament kind of vibes?
Why was I there?
So it's a post where someone says, "I'm going to tell the authorities that I saw like Salem witch trials. I'm going to tell the authorities that I saw you at the Devil's Sacrament." Well, what were you doing there? So like you were doing something fucked up. But the person
Yeah.
who's accusing you was also doing something fucked up, because if they
Yes.
weren't, then they wouldn't know.
Yes.
So it's but anyway, so just the basic through line of all of this was it's stupid to hold yourself eternally accountable if you have gone through the work of changing, and it's also stupid to hold someone else eternally accountable if they have gone through the work of changing.
Yes, that is ultimately the lesson here. I mean, I know like we're laughing, we're bringing up ridiculous, things, but the point is that teenagers do dumb shit. Like
Yeah.
right, and it's just the nature of things. And we ought not to hold that dumb shit against them for eternity. It would
But I
be
mean, even
ridiculous.
if you're not a teenager, even if you do something fucked up when you're 30, if
50?
you
Yeah, but you brought up the teenagers, so that's what we're
yeah,
focusing on.
I
Well, I
know,
mean,
but
well, hold on. I mean,
short
no, because the older you are, I mean, the harder it is to forgive. I mean, not necessarily the older you are, but I mean, once you're an adult, I'm going to be far less forgiving of an adult than I am
of
for
a
a 13
teenager.
year old. Yeah.
Yeah,
Doesn't mean
sure.
I won't
But if,
forgive if the person earns it. I'm just saying, like, it's going to be harder for somebody that's an adult that does something to earn my forgiveness than some 13-year-old weirdo who's weird and we're
absolutely.
all weird.
But I mean, I do have video evidence of you saying that if the person does go through the work of changing, that it is kind of
Yeah.
justice to forgive
Yeah,
them.
absolutely. It's just a harder thing to do than
It
if you're
is a
talking about a
harder thing to
teenager.
do. But so I'm saying, like, yes, the fact that he was 13 and both of them seem to have done these things when they were like very young, 13 or possibly even younger. So, like, if you do dumb shit as a teenager, everybody does. Grow up, uh, be better. And if you are better, let it go. Well, that's all I had to say. Does anybody have any questions? Because we're gonna talk about the last chapter of Down the Rabbit Hole in 20 minutes,
We are.
which also starts with a horrible story, which I feel like is the whole book starts with a horrible story.
It's an expose about corruption in prison. Like, what did you
Yeah,
think you were gonna find?
I knew that going in, but then I read it and I was like, oh wow, this is so much worse than I thought it was gonna be. Anyway, Michael is correct. Nick Fuentes is understandable at 13, not at 30. Yeah.
That's it. Nothing
Well,
else.
that was the two posts that I had, and I feel like that's it. Oh, Reclusi said the kids spreading that shit is the worst of the bunch. To be honest,
I
uh,
don't disagree, but they're kids too. That's the kind of my point here. Is these are all kids, and
yeah. I do kind of agree. I do kind of agree that like the person who did something weird in the privacy of his own home and just made the mistake of giving out the video, that's weird. The people who then like made copies and had watch parties,
yeah, we're
that
little
feels
sickos.
that feels that feels worse morally than a guy. Why did he record it though?
I
Was
never
he
asked
gonna
them.
watch it? Was he gonna watch it back later?
I don't know. It was really weird. I mean, the video was weird. The things he was saying were weird. I mean, so
I
but
mean, like as much as I can acknowledge that it was a shitty thing to do, like making copies, I would have done exactly the same thing as a teenager.
yeah, that's what teenagers do. You're all little asshole hypocrites.
Yeah, that's a good point. We are all little asshole
Yeah.
hypocrites. Um, yeah, that's all
So,
I had to say.
all right. Well, that's wonderful. We will be back in just a few minutes on crime, corrections, and culture. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Subscribe to the channel. What's the channel?
The rational alternative.
We have a lot of shows on there, and they're all very, very good.
Please go and follow on Twitch, and please go to the website and check out the amazing merch that we have because we've got some really good stuff. including the amazing refutation of Kant sweatshirt, which you know I look at and laugh because I think it's funny. And there's beanie now as well, in case you wanted to offend more people.
Yes, giving offense one person at a time. That's Persephone's motto.
That
But
is
it's
my
not.
motto.
But what we're gonna do is we're gonna go now, and thank you everybody. We will see you again Friday. Please, until then, be ethical.